All right, so I just realized that my computer is not plugged in, so I am going to plug it in. Oh, I thought I wiped my face off so people wouldn't give me shit about like it being greasy. What? Okay. All right. Hold the phone here. I feel like I need... Okay, hold on. Hello, whoever you are, who's here. There we go. Hey, Bat Brain. How's it going? How's it going, everyone? No. How is everyone doing this lovely Monday? Actually, Fuwachan, it's 5 people. Fuwachan, it's actually 5 people. And nonetheless, why are you hating? Okay? I'm still going to say hi. I'm still going to do this stream if it were 2 people. If it were 2 people, I would still do this stream. Is this what time Bat Hasbara is on? Oh, shoot. I didn't know that. Why do we have to wear... I didn't realize that this was the same time as Bat Hasbara. I might have to adjust that then. Doing good, thanks. How about you? Please forgive my bad grammar English. I am from Germany. Oh, no worries, Bat Brain. That's totally fine. Hello, Germany. Okay, so hey, O'Day. You guys, I tried to like pat my face down because I know like people made fun of me for like having a greasy face, but are you kidding me? My dog is barking. Okay, listen, my dog does this thing where he waits for me to be comfortable, like sitting down on my couch about to eat or something, or starting the stream, and then starts barking to go outside. It's so ridiculous. So now he wants to go outside again now that I've already started the stream. Dog. All right. 1 second, guys. I'm going to run him out, let him out, and talk to each other, okay? Because this community is cool. So talk to each other. BRB. You want to go outside, girl? All right. Okay. Blakely would be a great news reported. Would be a great news. Oh, I think you meant reporter. Thank you. Greetings to Jerusalem from Germany. Awesome. All right. So I don't know if you guys saw my story. I posted a story saying that I was going to be online doing this live. And for now, I don't want to mess with Bad Hasbara's time. So maybe I'll change it. I was thinking that for now, I could do Monday and Thursday as like a good live time, you know? Like I could do Monday and Thursday. But I also don't want to step on his thing. So maybe I should do like Tuesday or Thursday. I don't know. Today I've seen a video for Trump. And Trump has committed to Khabib that he would end the war. Yeah, Mohammed, but here's the thing about how full of shit Trump is that in that video with Khabib, he says that he's going to end the war. Right after he just spoke to a bunch of Jewish donors in private like a week ago, telling them that not only would he continue to do everything Biden is doing and more, he would do everything Netanyahu says. And he even said to these donors that he was going to knock the Palestinian movement for freedom back 30 years. So Trump is a liar and he will say anything to anyone, depending on who's in the room. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that drives me fucking crazy about, like, people who are defending Trump. And I'm not saying you're defending Trump, but I've seen a lot of people that are, like, pro-Palestine defending Trump and saying he would somehow be better. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, like, Trump is a full-ass Zionist. Like, a full-on Zionist. Like, he is not going to be better. I made a smoothie. Exactly, O'Day. They always say shit. And here's the thing. Honestly, we might be able to fall for it if Trump had never been president before. But he's been president before. Like, we already saw his policy vis-a-vis Israel. You know what I mean? Like, when he was in office, he was the one that moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He was the one that oversaw the Abraham Accords. He was the one that recognized the Golan Heights and encouraged settlements. So, like, this idea that, like, we don't know what Trump's response would be to the people of Gaza, like, we do know, though. It would be really bad. I just feel like that sometimes people think that just because Biden is terrible, that means that Trump is going to be better, but he's not. Anyway, you know the two things that I want to talk about today, you guys. It's not only Trump, any president will kiss it. Exactly, Mohammed, exactly. This country, the United States of America, is totally controlled by Zionists. So it really honestly does not matter who the president is. They're going to do what Israel wants them to do, full stop. So there's that. Okay. So two things I really want to talk about today, and I don't know if you've seen any of them. One is, how many of you have heard of the Brianna Wu / Brianna Joy Gray kerfuffle that kind of happened on Twitter the last couple days? Yeah, O'Day, you're right about that. So we're going to have to pull that one up on Twitter. But first, one of the things, I'm sore. But first, one of the things that I want to do, Beautiful Rose, it's really good. It's really good. But the first thing I wanted to do was show you guys this interview with this lunatic Israeli something, okay? And she is on a panel with Piers But Hamas Morgan and Wajahat Ali, I think is his name. And they're talking about Gaza and Rafah, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. So I feel like we need to make fun of this. And I still have not stopped saying. Okay. I don't know. Heard it on Sabs. Honestly, Garami, that's a good point. Garami wrote, do you think that Biden would have even won without the entire mail-in voting thing? Probably not. Probably not. I think a big part of Biden winning was that we had mail-in voting. But also, I think that people, and a lot of people have memory hold this, but people were really tired of Trump's antics during COVID. And that's a big part why Biden won, because he didn't really have to campaign because of COVID. That's not going to be the case this year. All right, are you guys ready for this banger? Not sure, not sure. Okay. I still need to figure out how to do this better. Oh, Bat, did you see this? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay. I'm going to run it through, though, just to the part with her and him. Who is this psychopath anyway? Who is this? Brings deputy permanent observer of the state of Palestine. No, that's the guy he talked to at the beginning. Deputy mayor of Jerusalem, Fleur Hassan Nahum. Who? Minister of Jerusalem. It is an Israeli politician, expert, and policymaker. Okay. I've seen this person before, and calling her a lunatic is an understatement. Yes. No, you're right. Absolute psychopath. Wait, hold on. I'm going to share this really quick. This is her, what do you call it? Born on September 27, 1973 in London, England. Okay? How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Like, it's just amazing. Like, how you can be full ass from a different country and just go to Israel and, like, pretend you're from there. Like, go to Palestine and pretend you're from there. It's like, you're not from there, bro. You're literally from England. Well, I appreciate that, Mohammed, but the way that they try to harm me, oftentimes, aside from that time I got doxxed, was they just try to shut me down, and they lie about me, and they spread misinformation and smears, and call me horrible names, and they threaten me. That's definitely true. But they try to get me shut down a lot because they don't like me talking, especially since I'm very opinionated and I'm very loud about their lies. So, you know, a great way to support. Oh, hey, Zach. A great way to help me protect myself from these people is by just doing what you're doing, like supporting the channel, following me on other social medias, joining my Ko-Fi if you can, to kind of help insulate me from their attacks. Which, by the way, I always appreciate everybody that is here and love all of you guys, and appreciate any super chats or super thanks that you guys want to send me. If you do, if you're able, if not, no big deal. Just support the channel. Okay, so let's make fun of this psycho who's from England. Oh, hey, Chiara. Hey, Amor. Zach. Yes, glad to see you guys. But you know what I find really gross about this whole dual citizenship thing is that you can be born in a different country and then just go to Palestine and claim indigeneity there. But like, can you imagine, right? And this is why it's so stupid. First of all, I don't even think dual citizenship should be a thing. Like, you should have citizenship in one country, okay? And second of all, if you are a citizen of another country, you're born somewhere, tell me how you just go to another country and just start living there and claim citizenship, okay? I just did a DNA test. From 23andMe. And I found out, which I wasn't surprised by. Somebody just messed up they muted me. The Zionist muted me. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Ruben. Hey, Jem. Hey, Panther. Everybody, I'm so glad you're here. You know, I love you guys. Glad to see you here as we are going over this. Okay, good. You guys can hear me. Okay, awesome. So get this. So I did a DNA test recently. I'd never done one before. And I found out, I'm still kind of confused about the way DNA works because they do it in like percentages, like you're a certain amount of percentage this and a certain amount of percentage this. So basically what did not surprise me was that I was mostly Irish. Like, not surprising at all, mostly Irish. I have a little bit of French, which I did not know. I don't know where that comes from, but a little bit of French. I was like, ooh, mais oui. I don't know what that means, but it made me feel a little bit fancy. And now that I know that I'm a little bit French, I need French people to stop being so rude to me, okay? Because French people are always rude to me. It's all stupid American, you know, whatever. But it's like, actually, I just found out that I'm like 10% French. So, okay. Oh, thank you, Chiara. Thank you, Chiara, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Très bon. Thanks, Chiara. Oh, yeah, I forgot to add it. I want to show it. I like to show them like this. Yeah, okay. But like French people literally have always been rude to me. Like, they're really condescending. I've never been to France. I would love to go, but like they're always super condescending to me. Like, I went to Quebec and they were really condescending and really mean. I've told that story before, but I had no idea that I had any French in me at all. I honestly just thought I was mostly Irish because that's my whole dad's side is Irish. And I guess my mom's Irish too, but I don't even know where the French comes from. Honestly, I'm still trying to like learn about it, but I was like, oh, that is why I love cheese so much, because I'm French. That is why I love cheese so much. And I'm an alcoholic, I think, because of my dad's side and the Irish in me. Très bien, si es pas grave. Okay. Must be the French fries. Yes, Mohammed. That's my username on TikTok is cheese fries, because that's my favorite food. But that's because when it comes down to it, I'm American. Okay. That's what it comes down to. I'm just super American. And we Americans, we love our cheese fries. Don't get it twisted. You're just stereotyping yourself. True. I am. People are going to stereotype you. You may as well stereotype yourself and embrace it. People stereotype me all the time. I got called a white cracker when I was a kid. So I actually thought about making that my handle. But I didn't want to get my accounts banned. So, yes. Yes, Amor. Are you sure you're just not 10% Wisconsin? Yes, beautiful Rose. You are right that Ireland is the only European country with a lot of soul. Okay. They really are. Like, I didn't know until recently that Ireland had their own language that basically got stripped from them through colonization. That I think Gaelic is what it's called, was like a full ass language that they spoke. And for your information, the cheese in America, not comparable. I know, Frolic, I have heard that so many times that the cheese in France is amazing. I've heard that so many times that it's like so delicious and I would love to try it, but I've never been to France. I know that ours is all pasteurized and stuff, but oh, you guys are making me jealous. You're making me hungry. I know. I would love to try French cheese. In fact, one of these days, you guys, one of these days, when I do go to France, okay, because I am eventually going to go, I will live stream it and we can try cheese together. Okay. I'm going to live stream it and we'll try cheese it together. You'll get to see my first reaction. Okay. Sorry. I got way off track. We need to make fun of this lunatic. I know you can't even send it because I asked one time somebody, can you send me some French cheese? And they were like, nah. The only have one type of cheese. Okay, you should come here to Ireland. It's expensive as hell, but we're pro-Palestine at least. I know. Tell me about it. I wish I could. I wanted to go to Ireland anyway so that I could like learn about my ancestry. Because I even knew before I took the DNA test. I knew I was Irish. I just didn't know how much. But I would love to go to Ireland. I would love that. Thank you, AK, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Hi, Blakely. Hi, chat. Except for Biden, he is disowned from Ireland. True. Ireland does not. He's gone. He's been rejected, removed. Okay. No, I've never tried cat cheese. That's crazy. I hear there are buses leaving from NYC to DC at 6 a.m. Go to Spain. That's a nice place. Yeah, that would be nice to go to Spain. Okay, you guys, let's watch this insanely embarrassing interview from this woman. Okay, and I'm not trying to be like an asshole or whatever, but like this woman is super creepy. Like actually really creepy. She kind of looks like a witch. If you guys have ever seen like the Hansel and Gretel kind of like story or whatever, she kind of looks like a witch. Okay. So let me remove the Wikipedia of this British woman who clearly but is claiming indigeneity to Palestine. Okay. The only lunatic X is showing us. Okay. Yeah, AK, she's a terrible person. Actually, I found myself because I was watching a little bit of it before we get into this. She was pissing me off so much. You know what I mean? Like she was just she was pissing me off. All right.
Takes every fiber of my
from the Gaza Strip by Hamas. That trauma of those atrocities. We still have 124 people every day we discover.
Being displaced from one place to the other, being bombed, besieged, starved to death, and the world still demanding of them that you should do something different. Israel will kill Palestinians, whether they're peaceful, whether they're violent, whether they're tall or small. They will continue killing Palestinians because what they reject is our identity, is our nationhood, is our statehood. And they're not being very discreet about it if you just listen to them.
Ambassador, I appreciate you joining me and being so frank. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I'm joined now by the host of the Democracy-ish podcast, the commentator and columnist Wajah Ali, and Fleur Hassan Nahum, the Israel Special Foreign Ministry envoy and former deputy mayor of Jerusalem. Well, let me start with you, Fleur Hassan Nahum. I mean, that was powerful stuff there from the ambassador. What's your reaction to what he said?
Well, half of it is lies or delusions. And again, everybody wants to look at this
Fix
in
your
a very
mic,
narrow
bro.
scope of what happened since October 7th, which we are still suffering that trauma of those atrocities. We still have 124 people every day we're discovering dead young people from the concerts. We have a 1-year-old child, there a 4-year-old child. But I want to go.
This is what makes me insane about how these people can just get on TV and lie with impunity and nobody says anything. She just made that up. I don't know if you guys heard what she said, but she's all, every single day we're finding more people from the concert. Like, she means more dead people from the concert. You literally just made that up. That's not happening. There are no newly discovered Israelis since October 7th. You just made that up. But this is what makes me insane. These people just get on TV and they just straight up lie like it ain't no thing. And no one says anything. They just let it slide. And yet she says it's lies and delusions on the part of the Palestinians. Okay. The other thing is too, is how she's like, we're still suffering with the trauma from October 7th. How do you think the Palestinians feel that they've been suffering with the trauma of your genocide for the last 8 months, every single day, and there is still no end in sight? Yeah, exactly, AK. It's first of all, every accusation is a confession with them. I say it all the time. I'll continue to say it. But then it's like, oh, well, we're dealing with all this trauma. It's like, but you don't have anything to say about all of the mass graves and all of the people that continue to experience this horrific genocide. Nothing. Oh, yeah, she was.
Further back, 2005, Israel left the Gaza Strip unilaterally in order to give the Palestinians that chance of what they said they wanted. They wanted autonomy. They wanted.
Okay. First of all, I know that you guys already know this, but maybe somebody will end up coming across this video later that doesn't. I can't. They lie all the time. They're all, we gave the Palestinians Gaza and left in 2005. And she repeats that lie multiple times, okay, through this interview. She repeats it over and over and over again. We left Gaza in 2005. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. What? No, you didn't. They're still there. And if you hear, she goes, oh, well, they said they wanted autonomy. Do you call having to go through checkpoints autonomy? Having to get a work permit from your occupier autonomy? Having no airport autonomy? You call having no ability to govern autonomy? No ability to have an air force, an army, a military? You don't control your land, you don't control the air, you don't control the sea, you don't control your own borders, and you call that autonomy. That's not autonomy. That's occupation, and they never left. They're still occupying it. It's just insane. It's just insane. And what pisses me off so much is that whenever they pull this line, oh, well, we left Gaza in 2005, when they did not, okay? No one pushes back on it. No one's like, actually, no, you didn't. It's like they just let the lie stand.
Wanted self-determination. They wanted a state. And let's say that it wasn't a state, it was
exactly,
a state.
TK.
And look what happened. This man who just spoke, his party Fatah
exactly
was brutally removed in 2006 from the Gaza Strip by Hamas, who took over and since haven't had an election. That's been 17 years. Now, the people who live under the Hamas umbrella, they're doing great. And the people who don't live a miserable life. There's, of course, no rights for women. 12-year-old girls are married off. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Now, since 2005, every year we've had a war with Gaza. Almost every year. Rockets. Why?
First, thank you, O'Day. I appreciate the super chat. They left the Gaza military and then blocked and besieged. Exactly. Left. We're using left very loosely here. Seriously. And then she's all, they make them marry children and blah, blah, blah. And she just starts like putting out propaganda and lie and lie and lie just to make them sound scary. Because as you guys know, the whole goal of some of this crap is to try to get lost in the weeds and not acknowledge the occupation, but also to always make Muslim people look creepy and scary. Like it's always all, yeah, they make you marry child brides, okay? Like, I can't even tell you guys how many times already, and I don't know how many of you guys are in the United States right now, but they won't shut up about like, oh, well, if you were in Gaza. I mean, they've been doing that since the beginning, but they've been doing it especially since the United States Pride Month started the other day. Okay. Welsh Republic podcast. Hi, thank you for the super chat. I have a podcast that I'm running. I was wondering how you would like to come on for a show and interview to talk about. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Can you email me? I think my email is in my bio, or in the description of my thing. Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep getting muted? I think it's a conspiracy. The Zionists are trying to silence me. Yeah, this whole thing is just to avoid talking about the fact that they're actually occupying them and they don't want to acknowledge their statehood. That's really all this is. Hi. Oh, no. I just messed up my thing. Hopefully, oh, there we go. Also, still calling it a war. Like, bro, this is not a war. It hasn't been a war.
But I want to go further back. 2005, Israel left the Gaza Strip unilaterally in order to give the Palestinians that chance of what they said they wanted. They wanted autonomy, they wanted self-determination, they wanted a state. And let's say that it wasn't a state, it was a statelet. And look what happened. This man who just spoke, his party Fatah were brutally removed in 2006 from the Gaza Strip by Hamas. And since haven't had an election. It's been 17 years. Now, the people who live under the Hamas umbrella, they're doing great. And the people who don't live a miserable life. There's, of course, no rights for women. 12-year-old girls are married off. I mean,
really removed an election.
Now, since 2005, every year we've had a war with Gaza. Almost every year. Rockets. Why are they firing rockets if we left that strip for them? And it goes back to what you mentioned to your speaker, which is the charter of Hamas is not a two-state solution.
First of all, I am genuinely tired of hearing of the Hamas charter. Like, I am really tired of hearing of hearing about the Hamas charter from the 80s. First of all, Hamas remade their charter in like 2017. That's number one. And number two, I'm tired of hearing that as a catch-all for like, yeah, but they said they wanted to destroy us when you guys literally openly say you want to destroy them. Like, why are we still talking about the charter from the 80s when now in 2024, Israel is talking about destroying the Palestinians? Like the gaslighting, though. It's always endless gaslighting. Like, oh, but what about the Hamas charter from 1987? And then it's all, that's why we have to occupy them. That's why we have to terrorize them. That's why we have to continue to put our boot on their neck because something hashtag charter of 1987, but they never want to discuss the charter of 2017. And they also never want to discuss the fact that they talk like that about Palestinians now. It's insane. It's so insane. Like, yes, exactly. Exactly, O'Day. You're right about Hamas, that they won the election and then Fatah tried the military coup because the United States was one of the countries pushing the people of Gaza to have an election. And then the United States was upset and surprised that Hamas won. I know. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Fuwa wrote, like, they still control the people in the West Bank, but they can never answer that. You know what I mean? They never want to answer that ever. Whenever somebody's like, what about the occupation? Or what about the West Bank, the occupied West Bank? How come you guys are terrorizing people there? They never have an answer for that. Because what they don't want to say out loud, but they will sometimes say it out loud, is that they want to destroy all of Palestine, all of historic Palestine, and take it. That's what they want. But then we have to sit here and listen to them go, but the Hamas Charter of 1987. How about the stated policy of Israel in 2024? Like, it's so embarrassing. Yeah, exactly. And all the squatters from fucking Brooklyn that come in and just go to Palestine and just take someone's house. Like, it's just crazy. Blakely, if you visit the West Bank, you'd never make it out alive. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. There's like a part of me that like I would love to go to the occupied West Bank and meet Palestinians and like see it. Go to Jerusalem, you know? But I think that IOF soldier would probably snipe me. Like they know who I am, and I feel like they would probably accidentally like shoot me or something. Yeah, exactly. They did. They don't say anything about it. This woman is such a liar.
Hamas is from the river to the sea, the destruction not just of Israel, but of all the Jews in the world. And if all the Jews happen to be in Israel, even better, more convenient. But let's look at the PA as well. And let's look at why we're in this mess to begin with. The Palestinians have rejected statehood 5 times, from the 1930s to then on to the Oslo Accords to 2001, when Ehud Barak offered them. They're talking about the 1967 lines. That's exactly what Ehud Barak offered Yasser Arafat. And instead of saying yes, he goes.
The other thing they do is they repeat lies and talking points over and over and over again. And if you try to talk about it or try to like push back on it, they literally just yell over you. It's like the colonization. They're such colonizers that and they're so used to their entitlement that they can't even let people talk. They've got to like colonize the airtime.
The streets and releases suicide bombers and maims and kills innocent people in the streets of Jerusalem, my city. Now, let's say you know
Jerusalem is not your city, bro. Jerusalem is an occupied territory. So, and you're from London. Okay. So the other thing is about that is that they also love to bring up the past, like talk about the suicide bombings that happened in Israel in, what was it, the early 90s and then late 90s or early 2000s, like during the intifadas. But they love to bring those up when that hasn't happened in forever. Like, this is the gaslighting. Like, let's talk about suicide bombings that happened decades ago, but let's not talk about the actual insane bombings of refugee camps happening right now. Right now. Like, they always want to talk about the past. They never want to talk about what's happening right now. Like, half the people that are like Hamas militants weren't even born in 2000 or 1999.
So you're almost there. You're about to get a state, but you don't agree with this or that. Wouldn't you go back to the negotiating table if that's what you really want?
They did.
You start an urban warfare.
Yeah, you're right.
Move forward. 2005, Israel leaves the Gaza Strip.
No, they didn't.
Another peace deal offered by Ehud Olmert, going even further than
these are Hamas. That's
and
why.
them saying no again. So my conclusion is, and the conclusion of a lot of people in this country who are fatigued by this 4 attempt that they are saying that they want a state.
You think you're
The
fatigued?
crux of the problem is not that there isn't a Palestinian state. The crux of the problem is that there's a Jewish state that
No,
they have never ideologically accepted exists.
no.
And in their educational system, he talks that they want peace.
Now
Why
we're
are
going
they
to do the
paying
educational
terror attention?
system bit.
He talks that they want peace.
Seriously?
Why is in the educational system
Okay.
talk about the right to return and the destruction of the state of Israel?
First
If
of
that's
all,
what they want, why are they telling the people exactly?
it literally is the same talking points over and over again. They just scream over people, right? That is their whole strategy, okay? Their whole strategy is to just scream over people with the same stale talking points they've been using for decades. And then they lie. Oh, the education system is teaching their kids this and teaching their kids that. They've been repeating that BS for decades. And it's like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. They'll be like, oh, what about the education system? We left Gaza in 2005. No, you didn't. What about Hamas? What about the charter? It's like they just keep throwing things to see what sticks. It's
The opposite.
Okay. Let me bring in Wajah Ali. You've been waiting very patiently. I mean, there's a question in that, which I think is a very valid one, which I also asked the ambassador. You know, he seems to think that you can have post-war a situation where Hamas still form part of a government, governing in Gaza, for example. I just don't think Israel's ever going to wear that, and I completely understand why they would feel that way, and I'd agree with them. Do you think it's possible to have Hamas as forming any part of a government in Gaza after this?
It's not up to you.
The year is 2024. Israel has occupied Palestinians in East Jerusalem, in West Bank, and in Gaza for nearly 60 years. In the West Bank, there is no Hamas. Hamas does not control it. What is Israel's excuse? Over 500 people have died. No one's talking about that right now because of the gender.
Also, yeah, chat, you were just saying like the whole thing about how like every accusation is a confession, especially when it comes to the school thing. It's like, yes, exactly. I've seen so many videos of settlers teaching their kids this heinous stuff about Palestinians. I have yet to see the so-called curricula that's talking about killing Jews. Like, it's like they teach that kind of shit to their kids and then they turn around and say the Palestinians are doing it.
Genocide in Gaza, they have expanded settlements. Palestinians live under apartheid law. You know this. In Gaza, over the past 7 months, Piers, over 36,000 people have died. You and I have seen it. You and I have been outraged by it. You and I have seen the burned bodies in Rafah. Over 80,000 people have been injured. Over 1.5 million people have been displaced. As long as there is an occupation, even if you get rid of Hamas, and as we have seen in the past 7-8 months, Hamas will not be destroyed. They have been weakened, but Israel has already failed in its war because, as we have seen, Hamas will not be destroyed. Even if Hamas gets destroyed, something else will pop up. I'll give you an example. Early 80s, Lebanon. They went to Lebanon. Israel went to Lebanon, laid devastation. What happened? PLO got weakened. What rose in its place, Pierce? You remember, Hezbollah. Who has been supporting Hamas, specifically as a counter to Arab nationalism?
Exactly.
Israeli government. Who has been supporting and funding Hamas? Benjamin Netanyahu. So who here the ICC has said has committed war crimes? Netanyahu and the leaders of Hamas. The reality is, unfortunately, as much as all of us hate Hamas, and we do, it has committed terrorism against Israel.
Speak
right
for
now,
yourself.
the problem is the occupying power, occupying Palestinians. And
listen, I know this guy has to say that, whatever, because I think he like works with people like who support Israel, whatever. But first of all, speak for yourself. Not all of us condemn them. Not all of us hate them. So yeah, don't say all of us. Second of all, it is way more than 36,000. We've been hearing them say 36,000 for 2 months. 2 months. Yeah, I do not condemn but Hamas. And I don't like think like people are like, oh, well, you know, it's because we have to because they're terrorists. Again, I would really implore everyone who is watching this or who sees it in the future that we really need to ask ourselves why we view our definition of terrorism the way that we do. Okay? They are resisting occupation and oppression. That is not terrorism. Terrorism, by its definition, is when you terrorize a civilian population for the sake of just political aims. That is not what they are doing. What they are doing is resisting a brutal occupation. Very different. But in the West, what we do is we play games with definitions of the word terrorism, depending on who we like and don't like. So Netanyahu's not a terrorist, but Putin is. Like, be so for real. Be so for real. Thank you, O'Day. No, we don't condemn Hamas. But go on, Wajahat.
And I will say this. Israel should call out Hamas's bluff. Hamas said, if Israel accepts two states...
But he is right about that. Wajahat is right about that when he says every single aim that Israel has had since this genocide started has been a big, fat failure. Fail. Epic fail. They said they were going to eradicate Hamas. How's that going? It's not going. And they're not going anywhere. They also said that they were going to bring their hostages back. Have they? Have they? Have they? No, they haven't. They haven't done anything.
We will lay down our arms. All right, call Hamas's bluff. Last month, Hamas said, we accept Qatar and Egypt's peace plan. Antony Blinken said it was very, very generous. Who torpedoed it? Netanyahu. We just saw on Friday, President Biden, who has been weakened, humiliated, and mocked.
He's so embarrassing. Biden is so embarrassing. Exactly. And in the same way that the Zionists love to say, oh, all the deaths of the civilians in Palestine are on the head of Hamas. No, it's not. You're the ones with the weapons and you're the ones dropping the bombs. But the hostages that are probably dead, unfortunately, those deaths are on Israel. Because they're the ones who are dropping the bombs, and they're the ones who have made it their mission to employ the Hannibal Directive and have thought it more important to kill Palestinian civilians than they have to bring their hostages back. So spare me. Like, anyone can spare me with that. I think it's sad that a lot of the hostages have been killed. But a lot of the hostages that have been killed have been by Israel, including the 3 that had escaped somehow and were waving white flags and were killed by the Israeli regime when they were trying to escape. Oh, hey, JT. Okay, so Walton wrote, some people in Hamas committed war crimes. I don't agree with their overall ideology. I was in the U.S. Navy, didn't fully agree with their ideology either. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. It doesn't matter if we don't agree with their ideology or not, right? Like, that's the thing that's so crazy about it, is that people are always saying like, oh, well, we don't agree with Hamas's ideology, therefore we should be able to control the Palestinians, or we should be able to destroy everything they have and refuse to give them a state. Or it's okay if we kill them, because this is one I hear a lot. Because in case any of you guys didn't know, I am non-binary. I am a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Pride just started here in the United States on the 1st. And I will hear all the time from Zionists, because the fact that I'm non-binary is in my profiles on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and here, they'll go, oh yeah? Well, how could you defend the Palestinians when if you were in Gaza, they would kill you? First of all, I don't even believe that. But second of all, that doesn't give you the right, just because they don't believe something, to take away their human rights and their autonomy. Like, that's the point. The point that I try to get across to the Zionists, although it never does because they keep repeating the same talking points all the time over and over again, is I don't care if I don't agree with Hamas's ideology. I don't care if maybe Palestinians would hate me or not like me because I'm a Westerner and I am LGBTQ+. I don't care, because they're allowed to feel that way. They're allowed to not like my religion. They're allowed to not like my lifestyle or my gender identity. They're allowed to not agree with anything that I believe. It is not, it has, one has nothing to do with the other. A has nothing to do with B. Regardless of how I would feel about Palestinian ideology when it comes to Hamas or the laws that might govern Gaza or how they feel about me, that has nothing to do with human rights. They still deserve human rights and they deserve autonomy regardless of what their ideology is. Did that make sense? Like, I feel like there's always this negotiating the Palestinians' humanity is what I'm saying. Like, it's always this, let's negotiate the Palestinians' humanity because they don't agree with us on shit. So, like you should not be able to take away someone's human rights and take away someone's autonomy and their dignity because you don't like the ideology of their leadership. There are a lot of places that do not like the United States and the things that we believe in this country. I wouldn't be like, okay, it's totally cool if you bomb Texas. I don't like Texas's ideology. I don't like the conservative ideology in Texas. I don't want to bomb them over it. I don't want to take away their rights over it. Like, please. You don't get to negotiate people's human rights. Right, exactly, Fawa. And then they go, why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? They hate us because they hate us. Like, people actually said that in mainstream media before. Oh, why do they hate us? Why? They hate us because of our freedoms. Do they? Like, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, and then they'll be all, Israel has pride. You don't get to like pretend that you're all like, oh, I'm for pride and whatever, and Israel has pride when A, gay marriage isn't even legal in Israel, and B, you run an apartheid state. Like,
and ridiculed by his greatest ally, more like an enemy, Netanyahu, the next day, Saturday, Pierce, who rejected Israel's own peace plan, Netanyahu. So I'm telling you, as long as Israel occupies Palestinians and Israel chooses to occupy Palestinians, and Netanyahu and the government say no two states, there will always be resistance. That's the reality we have to deal with, unfortunately.
Okay, bring Fleur back in here. I mean, I
yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. Someone just wrote like people hate the, whatever, the leadership or whatever. But that's what I'm trying to say. Even if I hated the leadership of Palestine, of Gaza, which I don't, I believe in Hamas's right to defend themselves and their right to resist colonial occupation. But even if I hated them, who gives a shit? That's like your opinion, man. That's like my opinion, man. Regardless of how I or anyone feels about Hamas or any other leadership, it is not our right to tell the Palestinians how to govern themselves. It is not our right to tell the Palestinians how and who they should elect. And to use whatever the Palestinians may believe or what their leadership believes as a reason to take away their human rights and dehumanize them is disgusting and absurd. And it's a standard we don't hold any other country to. Any other country to. We have a queer movement in Palestine now. Yes, that is true. O'Day, thank you again for the super chat. And that is a great point. There are queer people in Gaza, okay? There are queer people in Palestine. Like, being gay is not like, or being queer or any kind of other gender identity is not just something that happens in the West. Like, queer people exist there too. But so many people in the West are just so brain fried that they think that like all of these, like none of these things exist in Palestine. When I talk about not condemning Hamas, I am talking about their resistance to the genocide and to their occupation. I'm not talking about whatever the leadership of Hamas living in Qatar is doing. I'm not talking about them, and I'm not talking about their religious views. I'm talking about the right of an oppressed people, the militants specifically, the Al-Qassam brigades, the ones who are actually in Gaza resisting colonial occupation from this terrorist entity. Those are the people I'm saying I do not condemn.
I think they abrogated.
Why is this muted? Excuse me.
Their right to govern anything, frankly, but what happened on October the 7th. But I also think that Israel's current government is full of people who are, I would label, extremists, whether it's Smotrich or Ben.
Right. Sorry to keep pausing it on you guys, but that's another thing that's so ridiculous is how come we're always having this conversation being like, Hamas can't stay in power. Hamas can't stay in power. We've got to do something about Hamas. There is no way that they can stay in power because of what happened on October 7th. But we don't say that about Israel. Like, how come we don't say that about Israel? How come we're not like Israel can no longer be in power? Netanyahu, his entire government, the entire government of the Israeli regime can no longer be in power because of all the people they killed. They need to be taken over by Saudi Arabia. We don't say that. We only say it about Hamas.
Or even increasingly Netanyahu himself, who, let's not forget, is facing corruption charges the moment this war's over. All the polling says that Israelis support the war on Hamas, but don't want him to continue as prime minister at the end of it. There's no motivation for him to end this war. In fact, the motivation is quite the opposite. And it's quite clear from the rhetoric of people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir that they speak in virtual genocidal terms themselves. So yeah, I'm all in favor of Hamas being removed completely from any power. But I don't understand why any sensible person on the Israeli side would see that it would be good for anything going forward, particularly a two-state solution.
I think you can respond
to have people like Netanyahu, Smotrich, and Ben-Gvir anywhere near a government. What do you say to that?
Well, the thing is, Piers, we're a democracy. And democracies, we have elections. Just because Hamas had an election and the PA haven't had an election in, what, 19 years? Hamas haven't had an election in 17 years. We have elections. The people speak and they elect the leaders that they want. But it's very, very interesting how everybody's putting the blame on Netanyahu and this government when previous governments, some on the left, also were rejected. Also, the Palestinian leadership rejected statehood. What was the excuse then?
They didn't reject statehood. And yeah, if you want to play that game, yeah, it wasn't just Netanyahu. It was every Israeli leader. And yeah, all of them have been playing this game. It's just that Netanyahu is even more extreme. His cabinet is literally psychotic. So it's like even more extreme. But there never was a real offer to give Palestinians their liberation. That's just more talking points from these goons.
Why don't we ask ourselves, what is the fundamental reason why Yasser Arafat and Mahmoud Abbas have said no to very generous peace deals? What is the reason why Hamas have rejected now a ceasefire deal 5 times?
How come all of a sudden, even though she's from England, she says Hamas and Mahmoud Abbas?
Blinken did say that the deals were very generous, but it was Hamas who rejected it. And then they magically accepted a deal that we didn't even offer. And again, trying to manipulate the media. And so again, the question is not this government. It's very easy to blame this government right now. They're an easy target. What was the problem with the Ehud Barak government? What was the problem with the Ehud Olmert government? What was the problem with the Rabin government?
Well, they didn't kill nearly 40,000 Palestinians in 8 months.
First of all, please, Piers, we know that the numbers have gone up and down like yo-yos. Even the UN said last week that it wasn't already 35,
how many do you think have been killed?
That it was 20. All I can say to you is,
how many do you think have been killed?
She doesn't know.
I would say potentially around 20,000, because that's what the UN
you have
said.
No idea.
22,000.
You have no idea.
Let's not start with this line of questioning.
Actually, I'm going to start with this line of questioning.
I don't think Churchill knew in the middle of the Second World War how many Germans he'd killed. And so this is a farcical question. What I can tell you is
you just gave me a number, but you've no idea why you've got that number.
That's what the UN says. The UN says, according to the so-called Gaza Health Ministry, let's take their number. Let's take the number, the mistaken, corrected number of the Gaza so-called Health Ministry, all terrorists on the ground, hiding like cowards. But let's say now they're saying 22,000. We know we've killed 14,000 terrorists.
No, you don't.
Now you tell me.
Don't.
Yes, we do.
No, you
yes,
don't.
we do. So you tell me.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not having that. I pressed the Israeli.
We know how many brigades.
Hang on.
We know how many brigades we've gotten rid of. We know how many brigades.
I'm going to respond to you.
See what I mean?
I did put
we know
this.
How many brigades.
I put this to an Israeli government spokesman. I asked him, how many Hamas have you?
See what I mean? These fucking people never let anyone finish. They just talk over other people over and over and over again. They just fucking keep talking over and over and over again over everybody and repeating their vomit talking points. It's so annoying. Shut up, lady. My gosh.
Killed, and he gave me this figure, and I said, how many civilians have you killed? And he had no idea. I said, well, then how can you be so precise about how many terrorists you've killed? You can't. If you've got no idea how many civilians you've killed, why should I believe a word about the numbers of Hamas?
Because we know how many brigades they have, because we have that intelligence. We know how many brigades.
So just to be clear,
to be clear,
you know exactly how many terrorists you've killed, but you have no idea how many civilians.
We estimate, absolutely. We estimate.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Sailor Jerry, for the super chat. That's very kind. I cannot stand that with me either. She's really insufferable. Like, it's really next level. I can't stand the way she talks, her like fake accent.
That there's about 14,000 terrorists, which we've gotten rid of. We know how many are left. There's 4 brigades, and that's why we're in Rafah.
And how many civilians have you killed?
The UN, again, Piers, in the middle of the Second World War, I don't think you could have pushed Churchill.
You're doing it as well.
Ask him.
Sorry, Fleur.
What am I doing?
You're doing the same thing the government spokesman did. You know exactly how many terrorists you've killed, but you've no idea how many civilians.
We don't know exactly.
How convenient.
We don't know exactly.
How convenient. That Israel knows exactly how many terrorists you've killed, but you've no idea how many innocent women and children.
Do you believe the UN numbers?
Huh?
Do you believe the UN numbers?
I just find it staggering that you'll all come on and say to me, we know
know
we've killed 14,126 Hamas, but we've no idea how many civilians.
Because we know what the army that we're dealing with is. We know what the terrorists
No, I'm sorry, it's nonsense to say you can count one and not the other.
Absolutely not.
I do love that even Pierce but Hamas Morgan is like, oh my gosh, you're doing it too. So you know for a fact how many militants you've killed, but you don't know how many civilians you have killed. And then she's like, yeah, absolutely. And yes, of course, then there's going to be more lies, more deflection, more but Hamas, more. Do you believe the UN's numbers? Bro, you don't believe the UN's numbers. You called the UN Hamas. And then bringing up World War II, the famous World War II example, like this is anything like it. And that's the other thing. They love to bring up World War II when it was because of World War II that we put the Geneva Conventions in place. The whole point of that in starting the UN was so that something like the World War II would never happen again, because that's how bad it was. We decided as a society and as a world that we weren't going to find it acceptable to have that level of death anymore. But they love to go, what about World War II? What about Winston Churchill? You know, they're always still doing that. And she's still claiming that they know how many militants they killed, but they don't know how many civilians they had. It's actually funny that it's actually kind of funny that he even got annoyed.
Nonsense to even ask the question. I don't know who in the middle of a war starts counting.
You're counting
the people that they've killed.
Yeah, you're counting.
We know how many are left.
Sorry, you're counting, but you're only counting one side.
True.
Piers, you seem to be a little obsessed with this.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with how many civilians are being killed.
All right, let's say we
What
take
kind of
the so-called
response is
Gaza help.
that? What kind of response is that? He's like, why don't you tell me how many civilians have been killed? She's like, geez, Piers, you're so obsessed with me. You're so obsessed with me. Why are you so obsessed with me? That's not a response. That's not a response.
Ministry's numbers. The corrected version, do you remember what that is now?
That was the number of people they could actually put a name to, right?
The corrected
they could put a name to.
Version. So again, another lie from this lying liar. They never had a corrected version of the number of civilians that have been killed in Gaza. What they had was a number that they were able to put names to. And there are so many people that they have not been able to put names to because of things like, I don't know, decapitating babies, because they actually decapitated Palestinian babies, because of incineration, blowing people up, all the people stuck under the rubble. So no, they haven't been able to put names to everybody that's been murdered there. But she's going to lie and she's going to say, oh no, they revised the count.
And you think that's the total number of civilians killed?
The last time I was on your show, you had Barghouti saying that there was 40, 50, 60,000 dead. Let's just add numbers on, because why not? Everybody will believe you anyway. And then we had the corrected version of the numbers, which went down to about 22, 24,000.
They were the names of people. They were the ones they could put a name to. They don't know how many people are lying in rubble still.
Exactly.
No idea. People have been killed.
We know how many.
People have been killed in gigantic numbers week in, week out.
We know how
you know that, and I know that. I've interviewed doctors. I've interviewed doctors in hospitals saying 500 people have been brought in every single day. But what staggers me, Fleur, what staggers me is that you, like the government spokesman I interviewed, you are certain you know exactly how many terrorists you're killing, but you've no idea how many civilians. Let me bring you Wajahat.
We know how big the army. We know how big. Let me finish.
No, I'm going to come to Wajahat. I'm giving you a chance.
You haven't shut up.
You can't just keep talking.
When Al-Shifa Hospital was
but she will.
Yeah, we're not going back again to that.
They said there were 500 dead. The next day, when it turned out to be
I know.
Keep going. Keep going.
I know.
There were 26 dead.
I know.
Think about that every
I am
time you
thinking
believe
about
the numbers.
that. Yeah. Let me come to Wajahat. This is my problem with when I get into numbers with the Israeli side, is that they seem to be utterly emphatic in their knowledge of how many terrorists they're killing, but no idea how many civilians.
Why does my screen keep getting muted? What is happening? I actually like these debates because these people show their whole asses during them. Their whole asses.
And almost don't care.
The only thing I hate is that I wish that Piers but Hamas Morgan would mute their asses. Because if you notice, and I'm sure you have, you only see the right-wing Zionists cutting people off. You never see like the people on the pro-Palestinian side cutting off the Zionists. It's only on one side that these people try to colonize all the airtime and speak over everybody. And he could mute their mics, but he doesn't. Yeah, but I like actually seeing these because I think it's good to see them show their whole asses and what sociopaths they are.
Of war. Churchill didn't count.
The fog of war was used by the UN, not us.
Well,
when they were
I'm asking Wajahat. Sorry,
when they were justifying
you could let him speak,
that
please.
Was their expression.
Let him
that was
speak.
Their expression.
Let him speak, please. Wajahat.
It's not that they almost don't care, Piers. It's that they don't care.
Thank
and
you.
We know that the number is probably higher than 36,000 people killed. You and I have eyes. The world has eyes. We have seen Rafah get bombed. We have seen the charred bodies. We have seen Israel bomb churches,
like that.
mosques, refugee camps. We have seen Israel kill the staff of World Central Kitchen and then say, oops,
that kind of
we have seen Israel occupy Palestinians in the West Bank. There's no Hamas in the West Bank. What's Israel's excuse for killing over 500 people in the West Bank with Ben Gvir handing out, excuse me, with Ben Gvir handing out weapons to extremist settlers? Listen, of course you know, but to you, can I just say, but to you, Hamas doesn't control the West Bank. Facts, please. But to you, every
But they
Palestinian is a
exist,
terrorist.
and they're
You don't
there.
care about the women.
No,
You
Shut
don't care
up,
about the
lady,
children. You
shut
don't care
up.
about the
That's not
majority
true.
of
You
people
don't
that have
know
been
who I
killed
am,
are
and you don't
civilians.
know what I've
To
been
you, it's
doing
all
over the last
terrorists.
4 years. You don't
This
know
is
anything.
the
You just
okay, but
blank.
You don't know who I am, and you don't know what I've been doing for the last 4 years. Shut up. Literally, no one cares. No one cares who you are and what you've been doing the last 4 years. And the reason why she is yelling over him is because he is making a point. He is making a point. He is talking about what's actually happening, and she don't like that. She don't like that because the West Bank is occupied. That's why we call it the occupied West Bank. But Hamas is there. Well, you guys think everyone is Hamas. You guys think everything is Hamas. Bees are Hamas. The UN is Hamas. The rubble is Hamas. So, I'm not really going to take what you have to say at face value. There are militant groups that are in the occupied West Bank, but it ain't Hamas. I know, right, Mohammed? Like, for real. Like, as if Israel isn't constantly hovering over everything the Palestinians do in the occupied West Bank. But again, when she gets called on her shit, she just starts repeating herself over and over and over again. Repeat yourself over and over again.
I can judge you by. Can I just finish? I let you. I didn't say a word.
Can you let him finish his point?
I didn't
Because
say
you
a
can't
word.
keep talking over him, Fleur.
Bro,
let him finish his point.
He's lying.
First of all,
well, he listened to you.
Oh, he's lying.
So let him speak.
This is what I say is she represents the general psychopathy of the Israeli government.
True.
Where they come on television and they think the rest of the world actually is like them, that they don't see Palestinians as humans, and they say these talking points. And Pierre, sometimes when you invite me to debate, I sit here and go, I don't have to say a word because they're undermining themselves and their own cause in front of the global stage right now. I mean, the fact that she knows, but like somehow magically they're all terrorists, but when you ask them repeatedly, well, how can you not know how many civilians there are? And they say, well, we don't know. What civilians? And then she goes to World War II, compares Palestinian moms and children to Germans, to Nazis. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You're talking about mosques and you're talking about churches.
You're talking about mosques and you're talking, shut. Okay? Shut it. And then she's like, oh, well, mosques and churches. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's so stupid when they bring up World War II. World War II has nothing to do with what this is like. But they don't know how to do anything else except for go, World War II, Dresden, Hamas. So what you're saying is the Palestinian baby that you beheaded is Hitler? Like...
and you're talking about schools, and you fail to mention that that's exactly where Hamas hide. Not just that, they build mosques on top of tunnels, on top of terrorist installations. You want to ignore
terrorist
the fact that
installations,
Hamas are cynically using their own people. They use their people as a defense strategy. They're using our hostages.
So Israel bombs Rafah and kills kids
as human shields.
So Israel bombs World Central Kitchen staff.
Terrorists. Israel bombed 2 terrorists. A kilometer away, there was a fire that was made by munitions that were in a place that they shouldn't have been. And
actually, you don't know all that.
There is
you don't know that. That's not been established as fact.
There is an ongoing investigation.
Sorry, that's not.
Now,
sorry,
but all I know is
I like how again she just keeps yakking. Like, so she lies, and thankfully, because he usually doesn't, Piers actually stops her and calls her out and is like, that hasn't been established, because it hasn't been established. And she just keeps talking. The strategy is to just keep talking, even if you are lying.
Again, to correct you, Fleur, that has not.
You don't know what happened either.
No, nor do you. So you accept.
But he's not pretending to know what happened.
The moment
sorry, you just accepted you don't.
We know that it was a kilometer away from where
you just said you didn't know what happened either. In other words, nor do you.
No, we are doing an investigation.
Right, it's not concluded. So how should you say these things are facts?
And then
the only fact, if I may finish, Fleur, if I may finish, the only fact is that 45 innocent people in the refugee camps were killed at the same time as apparently 2 Hamas terrorists. I don't call that a very good percentage. Do you?
No, but it wasn't a strategy, and it
Oh,
is not.
sure.
what
When
they're
you
aimed
bomb a
to do.
refugee
Whereas
camp,
Hamas
that
on
is
the
a
October
strategy.
7th,
When you bomb a refugee
when-
camp,
no,
it is a
we
strategy.
did not bomb a refugee camp.
I want, here's the challenge, for one of these Zionist lunatics to have to debate about what's going on without invoking Hamas. Because he just said, you guys killed people at a refugee camp. And she goes, yeah, you know what? It was an accident. But Hamas! But Hamas! I would love to be able to tell them to debate and not be allowed to use Hamas as a strategy. Like that can't be a talking point. I get, like, they would probably fall apart. They probably wouldn't be able to do it.
Bombed two
Who are in a
terrorists
refugee camp.
down. They were a kilometer away from the humanitarian
They were
zone.
in a refugee camp.
They were in a kilometer away from the humanitarian
In
zone.
a refugee camp.
I'm just going to keep repeating the lie. I'm just going to keep repeating the lie. I guess I'll just keep repeating the lie. That's her strategy, to keep repeating the lie. Also, how much is a kilometer? I always forget it, in mile terms. How long is that? How far is that? She looks like a witch.
Where we moved people in order to put
You
them out
moved
of
them
harm's
there
way,
and then you killed
whereas
them.
Hamas keeps them in
0.6
harm's
miles. Thank
way.
you, Mohammed.
When babies were baked in ovens on October 7th, that was a strategy. When Israel tries to weed out the terrorists, and there are unfortunately casualties, it's not a strategy. That is not what we aim to do.
Those casualties are
This was probably the part that infuriated me the most during this debate, was that outrageous lie that has been debunked over and over and over again, including by Israeli media outlets. They are still repeating. They are still repeating. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting and so outrageous. And they still do it. And neither one of them pushed back on it. That is definitely the most infuriating part of this entire debate, was when this liar said the lie again about baked babies. They didn't push back on it. Wajaha Ali did not say anything. Piers Morgan did not say anything, despite the fact that it has been debunked over and over and over again from the beginning, including by Israeli media. And yet they are able to go out there and continue these lies and continue this propaganda and continue these atrocity hoaxes, and no one pushes back on it. These people should not be able to go on any media outlet, any fucking media outlet. They should not be able to do it and lie and purport their atrocity propaganda and all their agitprop and all the bullshit that they spout about mass rape hoaxes and babies in ovens without getting serious pushback. They should get pushback every single time, because again, it was debunked within a week of October 7th from Israeli press, that lie about babies in ovens. And yet she comes on here on Al Gore's internet in 2024 in June and is still lying about the beheaded babies hoax. And neither of them said shit. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. So unacceptable.
beheaded babies in Rafah.
That really?
Yes,
that bomb
really.
dropped
I've
in
seen
Rafah tent.
I saw a beheaded baby
and
that
babies
night.
were beheaded.
No, Wajahat. First, your response should have been, that was already debunked. It was a lie. It got retracted within days. And then get to by the way, we've all seen the videos of the beheaded children in Rafah. We've all seen it. We've all seen the videos of the beheaded babies in Rafah. But of course, you know, conveniently, very conveniently, she's still talking about the beheaded babies in ovens hoaxes from back in when this first happened that was debunked literally within days. But then conveniently, when they bring up the fact that there actually are and have been multiple videos that have gone viral of actually beheaded babies in Rafah, she just happens to have not seen it. Very convenient. Super convenient. She just happened not to see it.
Horrific.
That's what happened in Rafah.
Really?
And you know why they went to Rafah, Piers?
So, hang on,
real quick,
Fleur, hang on, hang on.
Accept it.
Fleur, just to
I
be
don't
clear, are
accept
you
it.
denying that there were any video footage of a baby beheaded?
I have not seen anything.
Really?
And I know that the Israeli army would never do anything like that.
No, sorry, the baby's head was blown off.
Oh, okay. Listen, when
It's
there's
killed
a bomb
36,000 Palestinians.
Okay, listen. That's her response. That's her response. I don't believe it. Well, why don't you believe it? Because the Israeli army would never do anything like that. Apparently, this witch has not been on the Israeli army's TikTok. Because if she had spent any time on the Israeli army's TikTok or Instagram or social media accounts, Twitter, you would see that they are very much capable and enthusiastic about doing stuff like that. But you see that? So there's no proof for her little hoaxes that she keeps repeating, but she repeats them anyway. And then there is a ton of proof that we have all seen with our own eyes about the beheaded babies in Rafah. And what does she say? She goes, oh, well, I don't believe that because I haven't seen it. And the IOF wouldn't do that. No one cares about your fifis. I don't care if you haven't seen it. It doesn't make it any less real. Just because you haven't seen it, which by the way, she has, she's totally seen it. But just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Such a lies. And Rotten Ruby, this is exactly why I get so damn exercised when we're talking about this, is because you're right. There are many people that still believe this hoax. And they use it. And the reason why they did it was actually two reasons. Number one, because every accusation is a confession. They accuse people of doing what they do. And B, to justify their massacres of the Palestinians. They needed those made up stories and those hoaxes in order to justify the massacres of the Palestinians. Because if you were to just have said Hamas killed mostly military people, then people would not have been so eager to co-sign on their invasion into Gaza. So what they needed to do was do things that would pull at people's heartstrings. Babies, women being raped. They needed to have those stories so that they could excuse it in the eyes and the minds of the public to go in, when in actuality, those things never happened. And that's what they do to the Palestinians. Just the lies, the lies, the lies, the lies. All the lies.
Oh, well, that's what you say.
Did this thing really mute again? Have a chance to film themselves. Yeah.
Apparently, you know the numbers better than the UN and
the fire
the
that
army
raged through that
everyone
refugee
else.
camp did that damage
Was
to that
tragic.
baby.
Was absolutely, and it was
But
tragic.
it's going to happen again and again if you bomb people in a
Yes.
refugee camp.
Well, we weren't aiming to bomb people in a
But
refugee
you are
camp. We were
going to
aiming
kill them
to
if you keep
eliminate
dropping
two
bombs
terrorists with
in a
blood
refugee
on their
camp, aren't
hands.
you? You're going to
That's
kill
why
civilians.
we took almost 1 million people and put them in a humanitarian
And how
zone.
many have you left?
That's why we did.
How many have you
Which
left?
army in the world? Which army in the world is actually warning ahead of time where we're going to be
Appealing to
attacking
that one.
in order to put people out of harm's way? That its own authority, its own government.
I
puts
just love
in.
that she can't defend it, so she just goes. She goes back to another talking point. She goes back to another talking point. She goes, "What army in the world would warn people before they murder them? What army in the world would warn people before they murder them?" And yes, that also doesn't take into consideration, which TK, you're right, just mentioned, of the Hannibal Directive. The civilians that were killed on October 7th by artillery fire that Hamas did not have. That's where we saw all those scenes from the Nova Festival of all those burnt cars and their the burnt people in the cars, which is not something that Hamas that day had the capability of doing. They don't have Apache helicopters.
Harm's way. Nobody's doing that. War
Where
is
are they
ugly.
going to run
War
to
is
over a
horrible.
I'm sorry, I have to
War
say
is horrible.
something. I
Where
have
will
to say
they
something.
run
war
to?
is
Where
Well, maybe
are
the
they going
brethren,
to run to
maybe
when?
Egypt.
Just let me finish.
Maybe somebody should demand Egypt to help out
I've
here.
listened to you. Just give me 10 seconds. The Israeli government has bombed Gaza. There's over 1.5 million people displaced. They moved to Rafah for safety. What did Israel do? Cross Biden's red line, the greatest ally, United States, and bombed Rafah. These people, as peers were saying, were in a safe space. They were in a safe zone, in a refugee camp, and now we have charred bodies and beheaded babies, and Benjamin Netanyahu says, I don't care. No ceasefire. I'm going to continue bombing Rafah. And now you have openly admitted they should go to Egypt. Now, if you want to send them to Egypt, which I know you do because you just said it, that is ethnic cleansing. That is ethnic cleansing. And that is a genocide.
No, why is
that would be a genocide.
Cleansing? That's so you're saying that at the moment
because you're
no
bombing
genocide.
them
Well,
out.
At least that. Okay.
That literally
all
is what it
I can say
is.
to you is this: Ukraine had a war, and all of the neighboring countries took them in temporarily in order to help them out in a situation.
No, you just want all their land. You just want all their land. That's why you want them to go to Egypt. That's ethnic cleansing.
Gaza. Now, not only are they not helping out, even temporarily, taking people out of harm's
Why
way.
is it Egypt's job to help out? Like when Israel's doing it to them,
smuggling in arms.
Because
look, I got no love for Egypt because I know that Egypt, the Egyptian border, is charging Palestinians like astronomical amounts of money to try to evacuate. But at the end of the day, how about why aren't you taking them? Okay, why isn't Israel taking in Palestinian refugees? Right, because they want to ethnically cleanse them out of the rest of the land so that they can steal it.
it's Israel's responsibility. Israel is the occupying power. Why should Egypt help? Israel should stop killing Palestinians. It is your responsibility. It is your responsibility. You are the occupying power. Why do you want to kick out?
First of all, you are the occupying power. And second of all, I can't stand the way that this bitch talks. She keeps repeating herself and like, we left in 2005. Like the way she talks is actually infuriating to me. We left in 2005. We left in 2005. What occupation? What occupation? Because we left in 2005. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Just the way she talks is just infuriating. And just her repeating her lies over and over again.
Palestinians to Egypt. And by the way, do you think Palestinians will be allowed to return to Netanyahu's Israel, where he says there's no two states? Do you think Ben Gvir and Smotrich will allow these Palestinians that you care so much about that are going to move out to Egypt and Jordan? Do you think that the government of Netanyahu, your government, will you allow these refugees to come back? You know, all these hundreds of thousands of refugees that you've allowed to come back over the past 70 years? What would happen? Do you think they really will be allowed to come back to your Israel?
Listen, we never left. We left in 2005 and we pulled out 8,000 people and their businesses and farms not to come back. Why did we do that? Why did we go through all of that trauma?
And you're still occupying.
Pulling out people. No, why are we occupying? Because we tried to stop Iranians from sending arms to Gaza.
Am I the only one getting so annoyed by the way she
talks? We left in 2005.
Let me ask you this.
We left the Palestinian leadership to their own devices.
Let me ask you this.
Look what happens.
Let me ask you this.
Look what happens.
Fleur, please stop talking. If I'm asking a question, my question is this.
Yeah, Amor, you're right. She slips. We never left on accident. We left in 2005. And then she's like, we left them to their own devices. Oh my gosh, it's making me crazy.
Is it that at the start of this war, Israel was able to turn off a lot of the water into Gaza, a lot of the food into Gaza, a lot of the energy into Gaza? If you're not an occupying country, how are you able to do that to another country?
A blockade is not an occupation.
What is it?
Yes, it is.
A blockade is not an occupation.
What is it?
Yeah, it is.
What is it?
Well, first of all, there's trade. There was trade going on between Gaza and Israel before October 7th. We gave out 20,000 work permits.
An answer.
Why are Palestinians not entitled to the same rights as Israelis?
Blockade.
They have their own. They had their own state.
They don't have the
No, they
rights of
don't.
Israelis. Why not?
Because they're not Israelis.
Okay. Well, that's pretty conclusive.
I do like how if you corner them even a little bit, they fall apart. Like they have their standard set of talking points, But if you corner them a little bit, they fall apart. He's like, then why don't they have the same rights as Israelis? Because they have their own state. No, they don't have their own state. They're occupied by you. Well, because they're not Israelis. It's like so embarrassing.
Thank you.
They're not Israelis.
Okay.
They left in
Sometimes,
2005.
you know what?
Look, Piers,
Sometimes
they can't have
it's
it
good to
both
shine a
ways.
light because you get the right
can't-
answer.
No, let me tell you what light I'm shining. You can't have it both
You're
ways.
not shining
You want to be
anything,
Israeli, or do you want to have
actually.
your own state? You want to have your own autonomous territory?
I
or you
think
want to be part of
Palestinians
Israel?
want to have the same.
94%
Palestinians want to have the
Palestinians
same
in the-
rights as Israelis, and I don't see why they shouldn't.
But do they want their own state or don't they? Do they want to be part of Israel? Do they want a one-state solution or do they want a two-state solution?
Well,
What
let
do
me
they
ask.
want?
Okay, that's a fair enough question.
I'm asking.
That's a fair question. Let me put it
Why
to
do
Wajah.
they always act
What do you
like
What
want?
do they want?
Wajah, what do you want at the end of this?
At the end of this, I want justice, I want peace, and I want a pathway towards Palestinian self-determination. I think there has to be an end to.
why don't they just ask a Palestinian? How come they're always having this conversation around the Palestinians? What do you want? What do you want? What do you think we should do about the Palestinians? Why don't you ask them? Like, why aren't you ever asking them?
To the occupation. Israel's occupying Palestinians to its detriment. I want to just say, those who are supporting the war like she is, here's the failure of Netanyahu's war very quickly. Netanyahu said he wants to destroy Hamas. Hamas is not destroyed. Failure number one. Netanyahu says he wants the hostages back. The family members of the hostages are protesting Netanyahu because they know he doesn't care. Failure number two. He says he wants to make Israel safer. Israel's not safer. He wants to make the region safer. The region's not safer. He wants to help Israel's reputation. Israel's a pariah. Military solutions will not work. People like your guest right now think they could put the boot on the neck of Palestinians, create a symmetry where there is none, occupy people, and people resist that occupation and just die. Like they're just going to die. They're not. If you want an end, if you want peace, stop the occupation and give Palestinians a pathway towards self-determination. And if there should be two states, Piers, riddle me this. Why is Israel expanding settlements in the West Bank? What excuse is it? Please give us the excuse why Israel
could not agree
is
more.
occupying the West
Yeah,
Bank
why?
and expanding.
Now, watch her not answer it because they have no answer to this. They have no answer to why they are doing illegal continued settlements in the occupied West Bank. I mean, they have an answer, but the answer is so atrocious that they don't want to say it on TV. They don't want to say it out loud unless it's only like the real radical right-wingers, settlers that are willing to say it out loud. Most of them are not willing to say it out loud because they know how bad it sounds. So let's see her not answer this question and dodge it.
Settlements.
I couldn't agree more. Fleur, why on earth does Israel
it's
think it's a
wonderful
good
that-
idea to expand settlements on the West Bank?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the context that Area A and B,
The
which is where 94%
context!
of the Palestinians live, are under the PA autonomy. The fact that they haven't developed their own
no,
autonomy,
actually.
the fact that they don't give people anything, the fact that East Jerusalem.
That's not the
city where
question.
I
The
was
question is why
deputy
expand
let me
settlements
answer.
knowing it is deeply inflammatory
Because
and often
He's
accompanied by violence?
malfunctioning,
Why?
y'all.
Because the settlements are not the obstacle to a two-state
Actually,
solution.
they're one of the major obstacles, actually,
They're
yeah.
not.
Because if you
Really,
keep
Piers?
seizing
So what was the
land
obstacle
They're
before
taking up all the land.
with settlers who are
1967?
violent
Piers,
towards
Piers,
Palestinians, that is an
Piers,
obstacle.
what
Yeah,
was-
it is.
What was the obstacle?
That's her
before
answer.
1967?
That's her answer. The
48
settlements are
Declaration
not
of
an
We're not in
Declaration of
1967. We're in
Independence. In
2024.
1967, a war was started. In 1967, a war was started in order to destroy.
See, this is what they always do. She could not answer that question because there is no excuse for the settlements. There is no excuse. And she can't answer that. So she brings them 1967. That's what they do. They always bring up the past because they don't know how to answer the question. Yeah, for
In
real.
1948, a war was started in
For
order
real,
to destroy. So
TK.
there wasn't one settlement. So explain to me what you
And in
both
2024,
are
Benjamin
ignoring,
Netanyahu
what you
announced he
both
would
are
have 3,000
ignoring.
more settlements. in West Bank.
The
After
settlements
Joe Biden said
are
no more settlements,
ridiculously
Netanyahu
inflammatory.
said
They are
3,000 more
wrong.
settlements.
They shouldn't be happening.
The largest cities and towns in the Palestinian, in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria are all under the autonomy of Mahmoud Abbas, who unfortunately is a corrupt
no, they're not.
dictator. What I wish for the Palestinian people is that they get the leadership they deserve. They get a Gandhi, they get a Mandela, they get somebody
but
who's not either a kleptocrat or a genocidal maniac.
You know what? Hang
You'd
on.
kill them.
Hang on.
You'd kill them.
You know what?
No, we
You'd
wouldn't.
kill them.
Well,
You'd bomb
you know
them.
what? I
That's
actually,
not true.
I actually wish
We are
that.
all,
If I
we're
may
all
finish,
wishing that here in Israel.
if I may finish, I actually agree with you, Fleur. I would like that on both sides. I think Netanyahu is long past his sell-by date. The right-wing hate bangers in his government are past their sell-by date. To get to a two-state solution where people can live peacefully with the same rights and same security and freedoms, you have got to get new leadership on both sides. And that is how we're going to leave.
I wish I could believe Land for Peace would bring us peace, because we really want peace.
Okay, well, one said amen and the other one tried to equivocate. And that's the problem, Fleur. Sometimes you've got to reach an agreement on top-line principles, which is, isn't that what we should all want?
With leaders who care about their people. And I wish that for the
On
Palestinians.
both sides. I don't care. I don't think Netanyahu and his cabinet right now care about anything but themselves.
We've had many other prime ministers offering everything the Palestinians said they wanted, and they rejected
We're going to leave it there. Fleur Hassan Nahum, thank you very much. Wahaji Ali, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, former President Trump's bombshell guilty verdict has triggered a predictable outpouring of smugness and glee from celebrities and liberals. Barbara Streisand said that Americans must not allow this felon anywhere near the White House again. Star Trek's George Takei quipped that he should now be called 34 instead of 45. And Joy Behar from The View said she was so excited that she, quote, leaked a bit in Costco.
Yikes. That was so crazy, you guys. That was so crazy. Yeah. Just said the thing about the beheaded babies, that hoax, and didn't get any pushback, which is, it's so wild. It's so wild. I just think it's interesting. Please tell me you'll do it in a skit. Yeah, maybe I should. It's so wild that they always talk about the Palestinians without ever including the Palestinians. It's always talking about them and what they should do and what they should accept without actually asking them what they want or what they would accept. Yeah, for real. Yeah, indigenous to the Middle East, lol. Christians, I hate Israel. Yeah, they always say the propagandists and stuff. How are Israelis supposed to live with Palestinians or near Palestinians or have a two-state solution or a one-state solution, whatever? How are they supposed to when the Arabs and the Palestinians want to kill all the Jews? But nobody ever asked that to the Palestinians. No one's ever like, or about the Palestinians. How come no one's ever like, well, how are Palestinians supposed to live near Israelis when they keep killing them? Like, how come no one asked that? No one's like, how are the Palestinians supposed to accept living side by side with the Israelis when the Israelis are always trying to kill them? Like, yeah, exactly. Ben Gvir arms Jewish settlers in the West Bank with guns. Yes, he does. And it's funny because there's always all this talk like the Palestinians don't want to live in peace with the Israelis. They don't accept a two-state solution. But no one ever points out that the Israelis don't accept a two-state solution. The Israelis don't accept a one-state solution with everybody living democratically and equally. Their whole thing is Jewish supremacy and supremacy over the land. They don't accept living side by Palestinians, and actually they never have. The whole two-state solution thing was just the bullshit that they tell us in the West, but they never wanted that. Yeah, exactly, Jess Love. He brought up those hoaxes again, and no one was like, sir, actually, that didn't happen. I don't know why you're still repeating it. Hope she didn't block me yet, because I wanted to do this Brianna Wu thing. So hopefully she didn't block me yet. Got a lot of likes right away, so I thought it would have gotten to 1,000, but I guess not. Yeah, it would certainly be hard. All right, let me share the screen with you guys so you guys can see this. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I don't know how I don't know what is going to happen with a Palestinian state. Now, I know that the occupation has to end. We all have to keep fighting for the occupation to end and Palestinians to get autonomy. But when it comes to whether it's one state solution or two state solution, like that's something that we should be asking Palestinians. Like, because it should be up to them. That's the whole point of being autonomous, is that other people don't decide for you. But they don't want that. They don't want that. They want to pretend that that's what they want, but it's not what they want. Okay, wait. I want to share my screen with you guys because I want to tell you guys about what happened with Brianna Wu, who is a racist. Brianna Wu is a full-on Zionist now, like openly bragging about it. Like, I'm a proud Zionist. And like literally doing propaganda on behalf of the ADL. Okay. Do any of you guys know who she is before I go into this further? Do any of you guys know who Brianna Wu is? Let me know in here. They are occupying the USA too. You got that right. All right, so let's go into my Twitter. Yeah, okay, so just some quick background really quick on Brianna Wu. She is, yes, she first became prominent after Gamergate. That's the only reason why anyone knows who she is. I don't think anybody knew who she was prior to that. And then she just talks a lot on Twitter, so she gets a lot of followers or whatever from that, or got a lot of followers from that. She always has been known as a progressive, as like somebody who was on the left, somebody who was like leftist, whatever. Okay. She's a trans woman. And I guess some people have asked, like, why is her last name Wu? Because she's white. She is a white woman. She's married to an Asian guy. Drac Damage, do a stream with Jake Shields. I would do one with him. Get him to get on with me. I would do it. I'm open to doing a stream with anyone, honestly. Yeah, she's married to a Chinese man. Okay. I didn't know what country he was from, but in any event, that doesn't matter. Some people have been giving her shit for like just like having like an Asian husband, which to me is weird. Like, don't comment on people's marriages. Like, that's just odd. But yeah, she's the executive for Jenks PAC, Rebellion PAC. Which, yikes. I've told you guys before, I love Jank and I watched TYT for a long time, but the fact that she's still working at Rebellion PAC, bro, we need to do some evaluating here. Like, that's embarrassing. To protest is yeah, it's gross. So she's a horrible person, okay? Let me show you guys this and how embarrassing it is. Okay, so I actually posted this on my Twitter the other day to show that she used to be pro-Palestinian. This is her, okay? It's hard to get a home in Boston or San Francisco, but imagine how much harder it would be if Boston itself were shrinking rapidly. This is a map of the loss of Palestinian land since the creation of Israel. Okay? So that was her a couple years ago in 2021. People have been asking what happened. I will tell you what happened. She started getting paid by Zionists. Okay, that's what happened. Keep your eyes on the fake pier. Yeah, didn't it float away, the fake pier? I don't know. Someone just wrote something about TYT, and I don't know why this happens in like every single one of my streams. Somebody being like, oh, well, I don't like TYT. Like, that's okay. You don't have to. But I'm not going to argue about TYT every single time I do a stream, guys. Yeah, the pier literally floated away. But I don't want to get distracted. You guys need to see this epic embarrassment of Brianna Wu. So basically what happened with Brianna Wu is that she basically decided that she was willing to sell out every progressive principle that she had, every leftist principle she had, in order to shill for Zionists. Like, that's what she's doing. She literally was speaking at an ADL conference not that long ago. Before you know it, she'll be working for APAC. Like, she is a full-ass grifter, okay? Understand that. She is a full-ass grifter. Okay, so that's the story with her. So Brianna Joy Gray is a political commentator. She's Black. She used to work for Bernie. She worked for Bernie Sanders' 2020 campaign, I think, as his press secretary. So recently, Brianna Joy Gray was on a panel where she was defending the Palestinians and she was defending their right to resist and their right to existence. And Brianna Wu decided that she was going to jump in her ass and assert herself into this conversation with Brianna Joy Gray, because Brianna Joy Gray kept getting attacked by the Zionists, who were allegedly the moderators on the panel. Like, they were supposedly the moderators on the panel, but they were personally attacking Brianna Joy Gray and basically being racist. Like, they called her DEI Barbie, like being super racist. Yes, Bri is on the Hill. She's one of the Hill, moderators or whatever you would call it. Reporters, anchors. Okay, so let's see if I can just search her and it would come up. Okay, so she started attacking Bri, right? Host, thank you. This guy, Constantine Kissine, was one of the moderators on this panel with Brianna Joy Gray and said, no one cares about your race, Brianna. This isn't Harvard. Because she went to Harvard, after he called her DEI Barbie. Like, straight up racism, like not even trying, not even fronting, just straight up anti-Blackness. And then Brianna Wu tweeted this. I'm not rooting for deaths. I have called for ceasefire repeatedly, blah, 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 blah. But I'm also smart enough to understand that just because something is bad, it's not genocide. Yeah, because she's denying that there's a genocide happen when it's like right in front of all of our faces. The truth is, you're a liar and you misinform your audience. You're morally load arguments because you can't win with the truth. You don't deserve the opportunities our country has given you. You are the most you are more entitled than any white man I have ever met. Ooh, what? What? Like actual just straight up racism, like straight up anti-Black racism. She's saying, and let me explain to you guys who don't live in the United States why what she said was anti-Black and racist, okay? Because she just said, you don't deserve the opportunities our country has given you. Acting like it was a favor that Breonna Joy Gray has had success in her life. Like, the reason why she's had success in her life is because if you've ever watched her, she's a very smart woman, whether you agree with her or not. And I've had many times that I didn't agree with Breonna Joy Gray because I felt like she was pandering to the right wing. I felt like she was pandering to MAGA. And so I haven't agreed with her on everything. But she's a smart woman. And she's a good debater. And she comes up with really good points. And she went to freaking Harvard. Not because she's DEI Barbie, but because she's smart. Like I think she got a law degree. And so she earned those things. And yes, Black people were the ones who built the United States. And Black people have been in the United States since the beginning. Like, obviously, no one's indigenous to the United States except for indigenous peoples. But as far as when, like, the colonizers started to come, they brought with them people they enslaved from Africa. So Black people have been in this country for a very, 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 very long time. So this whole, the United States has given you, given who? Given who? That's usually what they say to immigrants when they want to be racist toward immigrants. They'll say, the United States, you don't even agree. You don't even appreciate what we've given you, which is actually kind of an ironic racist thing to say because immigrants usually are super patriotic. Like, at least for me, the people that I've met, most people that I've met who are immigrants here, and I live in New York City, I've met a lot of immigrants in my life, okay, since living in New York City. They're usually pretty patriotic. They usually love the United States, often more times, like more than people who were born here. So this whole what the United States has given you is already super racist. But to say it to a Black woman who is an American, it's just like, you're not even trying. It's just white supremacy. Like, and yes, you're correct. Her podcast is called Bad Faith. It's just insane. It's insane. So then she's all, what are the other ones? Oh, I don't think she blocked me yet. Hold on, let me see. No, she didn't block me yet. She probably will, though. Wow. Oh, it's still going. This was 38 minutes ago, you guys. 38 minutes. 38 minutes ago. And this is still going. Wow. After Breonna Joy Gray lost her debate, she accused everyone of being racist again and then wished a fiery death, not just on all her other guests, but everyone in the building. Unhinged. Yesterday, I said her personality belonged in a carnival freak show. That was way too kind. Someone wrote, Breonna, you are the people you used to fight. Just own it, you bigot. I'm sorry. Where's the lie? Where's the lie? I'm not. I'm on the exact same side. No, you're not. You're a lunatic. 10 years ago, it was Gamergate harassing the shit out of everyone with a different opinion. Today, it's the fringe left sending death threats. Are you kidding me? I get death threats all the time from Zionists. She calls herself a proud Zionist. I literally get death threats from Zionists every single day. All the time. I am so tired of the Zionist victim complex. This is Brianna Wu, who is an alleged progressive and has been an alleged left on the left for a long time and has decided that she's going to work for the Zionists, basically. sending mobs after them and acting like sexist, bigoted assholes. You are the ones who have become the thing you used to fight. I like how she's calling other people bigots. She's calling other people bigots after she like said racist ass shit to Brianna Joy Gray. I used to roll my eyes when conservatives would accuse leftists of being obsessed with race. But after all the weird nonsense that they've said about my interracial marriage, I'm starting to think they have a point. Why are you psycho? You know what's amazing? This is a why I left the left routine. Okay? That's what this is. Right now, what you guys are watching is her arc. Okay? So she's calling out what you guys are watching, what we're all watching, is her arc going from progressive to right-wing Zionist and grifter in a very short amount of time. Usually the arc from I'm on the left to right-wing grifter is a little bit longer. Like Rave Dubin, Tim Pool, their arc was a little bit longer. Hers, yeah, exactly. Female Dave Rubin, for real though. Her arc was very short, very short. It went from, I understand the plight of the Palestinians to all leftists are trash and they're obsessed with race and they hate my interracial marriage and they are defending terrorists and calling Brianna Joy Gray racist names. Like it happened extremely quickly, very quickly. Also, what they always do too is Rave Dubin. Yeah, sorry, I call him Rave Dubin. Who did I get that from? I feel like, yep, every accusation is a confession. I think I got Rave Dubin from Kyle Kolensky. I think he was the one who said it first and I got it from him because I thought it was funny. Because it is funny. She's in favor of the establishment, blah, 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 far right. Yeah, I'm just so tired of it. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, and the reason why you always see this on the right, in case anybody is wondering, is because it's very lucrative to be on the right. It's not lucrative to be on the left. Like, they'll try to make that happen and go, oh, left is George Soros. But like, really, there is no money on the left. And the reason for that is because the left usually advocates for reins on corporate power, for taxing billionaires, things that people with money don't like. So there's not really money getting poured into the left the way there is tons of money getting poured into the right. Unless, you know, we're talking about Israel and Zionism, and then it doesn't matter if you're on the right or on the left, you will get tons of money from the Zionist lobby. Yeah, I mean, she's just a total hack, But you're right. But you know what? She can try to get cute with all of this and say like racist shit to Brianna Joy Gray, but the right wing is never going to accept her. They're never going to accept her because she's trans. And the right wing hates trans people. So you'll be able to make a lot of money off this grift, but they're never going to accept you. They might use you as a pawn. They might like using you as a pawn the way they use Candace Owens as a pawn. But guess what? As soon as Candace Owens did something they don't like in her case criticizing Israel, they dropped her. They dropped her real fast. Yeah, 100%. My favorite thing is, oh, I know, saying Soros is behind the pro-Palestinian demonstrations, which Lamau. Yeah, you guys saw that, remember, when like Joe Scarborough and all the clowns over on mainstream media were accusing George Soros in Iran and places like that of being behind the campus protests. And then it actually came out that it was just like a random Jewish woman, like no one famous, just like a random family that was supporting some of the people because they believed in the cause. It is so embarrassing. Brianna Wu, oh, this is good. This is good. This is good. Max Blumenthal wrote, Brianna Wu, a white Zionist lady, who tacitly impersonates an Asian, is lying about us, and is engaged in actual information warfare. Iran is not funding leftist news. No, that's true. Iran is not funding it. She's a liar. Now, do I think that there are factions on the left that are way too obsessed with identity politics, whether it's race, gender, whatever? Yeah, there are. Yeah, of course there are. There are people that do try to make everything about identity politics. However, so does the right. The right's whole identity is white grievance. So let's just be for real. If we're going to criticize the left for their problem with identity politics, then we should criticize the right too, because their whole shtick is white grievance and identity politics. The right wing doesn't have a coherent ideology without white grievance identity politics. Okay. And then she wrote, Max can't dispute the story of the gray zones links to Iran, which I have linked below. No, you didn't. So all watermelon freaks. I like how she thinks it's cute to call people watermelon freaks. You're not cute. You're not cute. He insults the person telling the truth. Buddy, even if I were wearing I don't even know what that means. Cheongsam. Does anybody know what that is, chat? What does that mean? What is chat? Tell me what this means. And getting Ollie London levels of plastic surgery to look Chinese. Oh, it must be like a Chinese garment or something. It would have jack shit to do with gray zone being linked to the you dishonest anti-American degenerate. Oh my gosh. I don't know, Sandra, because I think that she's married to a Chinese guy. Degenerate, anti-American, LOL. And then awkwardly, she's tagging her husband in it. How awkward. You're tagging your husband in your bullshit. I also like how I really don't want this to get lost. It is nearly impossible to gain civil rights in a democracy when you associate your cause with a bunch of fringe left ideas. My Twitter feud with Brianna Joy Gray made Haaretz.com. They are calling it the War of the Briannas. Okay. Okay, so here's some of the things, too, that... yeah, she just can't stop kicking herself. He identifies as... pro-Israel identity politics substituting an analysis for the material reality. Facts. Facts. Okay, so then she's like, this is part of what was going on with her and Brianna. Okay. She's like, oh, these are the screenshots from the article. I was looking to see. Oh, here it is. So Brianna responded back from her thing where she was saying, you don't deserve the opportunities that you get in this country. And Brianna responded back, you are even more entitled. Okay. The racism is loud. True. For the record, this country didn't give me opportunities. My ancestors fought for them, including in the Civil War. Just part of why I relate to and support the Palestinians' fight for self-determination, which is a really good response. Yeah. They always act like everything was just given to Black people. Every single war Black people fought in, including in the Civil War, and they were at the forefronts of all the different types of liberation. Like, you act like it was just like given to you, that like the white slaveholders were just like, here you go. Like, it's just so embarrassing. And then because Brianna Wu had written, I'm not rooting for deaths. I've called for a ceasefire repeatedly. Oh, yeah. I already read that to you guys. Never mind. And then Brianna Wu. Also, that's the thing. What they do is they say some shit that's racist. And then when you call it out, like Brie calls it out, she says she's obsessed with race. Well, bro, you were the one who brought it up. If you want to fight again today, I've got time for you, Brianna. She thinks she's really cute. You are entitled, which is why you stormed out of the event with Constantine Christen, the really unprofessional moderator that was supposedly moderating this event. You accuse people of being racist constantly, and yet you are one of the most open anti-Semites on the left. Okay, those are two lies. I followed Brianna for a while, Brianna Joy Gray. And even when I disagreed with her, she has never been like that. Like, she's not one of these people that's always calling everyone racist. No, she doesn't. She calls people out for being racist when they're being racist. Okay. And also she's like, you're the most open anti-Semite. Right. Except for that's not going to work anymore. Okay? Because that's what they do to everyone. If you defend the Palestinians' right to self-determination or you defend their humanity, they call you an anti-Semite. That's it. If you defend the Palestinians' right to defend themselves and for their humanity, you are called an anti-Semite. That's what they do. That's always what they do. She has to call me a racist because she can't engage with any of the arguments you're making. What arguments? You're not making any arguments. She morally exaggerates the language because she can't defend her beliefs on the merits, except for she did. But she did, though. If her personality were a physical thing, it would be displayed at the Carnival Freak Show. You thought you did something there, didn't you? You thought you did something there, didn't you? It is literally insane that I'm one of like 4 progressives willing to say that the political project of trying to ethnically cleanse Israel needs to die. What? What? Maybe the reason why you're one of only 4 people saying that is because you made it up. Who's saying that? Again, this is the projection that we're always talking about. This is the every accusation is a confession that we're always talking about, the projection. Israel's stated claim is to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians off of their land. That is the claim. That is the goal of the Israelis. But then she turns around and pulls out the whole gaslight, plugs the gaslight into the switch, and then goes, I'm one of the only progressives willing to say that Israel shouldn't be ethnically cleansed. Who? Where? That's not a thing. That's literally not a thing. No one said that. No one has ever said that. And no one has done that. Your side has done that. Has talked about it. Has bragged about it. But we're supposed to pretend that this is a thing? What? How? It really is unhinged, Amor. It really is. It's really unhinged. Like, this is talking to yourself. Just making shit up. No one said that. Making shit up, taking things that nobody said, and then projecting the ethnic cleansing and genocidal project that the Israeli regime is doing to the Palestinians and projecting that onto the Palestinians. Now, remember, guys, in this tweet, a couple years ago, someone's knocking on my door. Hold on. Hopefully it's not a Zionist. Maybe it's Hamas. Okay. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying a second ago? Mainstream media blames the victims, the Palestinians. Yep. Trump was the best. But wait, Trump was the best at what? Okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay. You guys will remember that it was the tweet I showed you guys earlier, that it was 2021 when she was saying and acknowledging that Israel had ethnically cleansed the Palestinians and taken all their land, and that their land kept shrinking more and more and more. Right. And now she's saying this. It's not their land. They were not ethnically cleansed from it. And exaggerating what happened in 1948 does not make it true. Here is the truth. Britain promised that same land to the used to be Judea to two people, Israel and the Palestinians, and tensions arose. Palestinians, encouraged by nearby Arab nations, started the war in 1948 and lost badly because Israel was secretly gathering arms because they expected to be attacked. That's how, but how does she get to just say shit like this that is so inaccurate? Like it ain't no thing. Like, just saying shit that's inaccurate, like it ain't no thing. It was the plan from the beginning to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians. There was a guy, and I'm forgetting his name. If one of you guys remember his name and you know who I'm talking about, put it in the chat. He was a foreigner. I think he was from Switzerland, and he came over to Israel to be a negotiator between the two, and he got murdered by the Israelis because they, from the beginning, did not want peace, and they wanted to just steal the land. Quiet, dogs. So infuriated with this narrative. I've been dealing with them for decades. First of all, thank you, O'Day, for the super chat. I appreciate you as usual. But also, when I can't even imagine, like, I think about that sometimes, O'Day, where like I'm like, I can't believe that you guys have been having to deal with this for decades. Like, the next level gaslighting, just next level gaslighting. Nakba truther. Oh my gosh. It actually is really heartbreaking that you guys have had to deal with that for as long as you have. Folk Bernadotte. Is that who it was? Hold on. Folk Bernadotte. Yes. Thank you. Who just gave me that? Who told me that? Who said Folk Bernadotte? Carl Whitehead. Thank you for saying that. That you're correct. That's who I was thinking of. Folk Bernadotte. Folk Bernadotte. Okay, so let's finish reading this tweet by this liar, and then we'll get to it. All of this is just true. You can exaggerate every single one in the history and morally front load it, but like that's not what actually happened. Okay. So that's what she said. Obviously a lie. And I want to show you guys this guy real quick. Folk Bernadotte. Okay, so this is the guy that I was thinking of. Wait. That's complete bullshit. Some in the Egyptian army and the Ukraine first. Exactly. She's literally just saying shit. Like, so we can just make shit up, you know? Yeah, also you have to be kind of some kind of sociopath to be like blaming the Palestinians for the Nakba. Like, okay, he was a Swedish-born nobleman and diplomat in World War II. He negotiated the release of about 450 Danish Jews, 30,000 non-Jewish prisoners in nations from Nazi German Theresienstadt. I don't know how to say that, concentration camp. Okay, so he was a diplomat. He negotiated getting people released from concentration camps in the Holocaust. After the war, he was unanimously chosen by the United Nations Security Council mediator in the Arab-Israeli conflict of 47-48. He was assassinated in Jerusalem in 1948 by the paramilitary Zionist group Lehi while pursuing his official duties. Okay? So I don't know what the hell Brianna Wu is talking about, or like whatever shit she's like making up or whatever. But like, I had a feud with a liberal Zionist for 2 to 4 years. And at this point he tried to paint me as a raging anti-Semite. Yeah, literally though. It's just everything is anti-Semitic to them. But like, okay, so as she just like making shit up and just like rewriting history about what happened during the Nakba, it's like none of them want to talk about this. How come none of them want to talk about this guy? Like, we're just going to pretend that he wasn't assassinated by the Zionists for trying to deal with negotiations? No? Okay. It's so ridiculous. Boycott Germany in the 1930s. And then she said, it's so obvious that if egos weren't involved, it could be solved in 2 seconds. You don't say? Like, she's acting like she's dropping all these like truth bombs on everyone. It's kind of amazing. The central problem in Israel-Palestine is the fever dream of conquering Israel and ethnically cleansing the Jews there. This is just a ridiculous lie and delusion, and ignores everything that the Israeli army and government has been doing to the Palestinians for decades. She's claiming that it's just the Palestinians. They're just so damn delusional and they won't let go of this from the river to the sea thing. But if they were to just lay down their arms, then they would get a state. Like, this is psychotic, okay? Because it doesn't matter what the Palestinians do. The Zionists have made it clear that they want everything from the river to the sea, that they want all the Palestinians gone, that they want them ethnically cleansed off the land permanently so they can build hotels in Gaza or whatever the fuck. So this idea that it's just the Palestinians and if they would just put down their arms, then there would be peace is such a lie. It's such a lie. It's also an Islamophobic lie, because the underlying current of that is that Arabs are just violent. They're not civilized. You could never negotiate with the Palestinians because they're just such barbarians. Like, that is what that is. Real talk? Let's not. Because why do I have a feeling that it's not going to be so real? You guys get the picture of what I'm saying here? Okay? Like how much of a grifter she is. Like, this is a full grift. This is a full grift. Brianna Joy Gray wrote, I've been ignoring this goofy broad because I couldn't for the life of me figure out why she's relevant. I mean, fair point. Fair point. Why is she relevant? Why? But she's a good example of where your hateful, genocidal, Islamophobic ideology gets you. Keep rooting for the mass murder of children, you murderous freak. I mean, where's the lie? Where's the lie? It's not genocide. It's a conventional war. Civilians die, and which is tragic, which is why it's unwise to start them. Again, it's not a war. It's not a war. It's a genocide. She did a poll. That's pathetic. That is so pathetic. Oh, thank you so much, SAR, for the super chat. Oh, wait. I think SAR is the currency? Your SA. Is SAR the currency? SA. Anyway, thank you, SA, for the super chat. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for contributing to the Palestinian cause more significantly. Oh, that's really sweet. From a violent Arab. Yeah, it's really sad. Like, that's how they talk about you, guys. She and the son of Hamas are twins in stupidity. Oh, it's Saudi currency. Okay, okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I didn't know what that was. I am not a very educated person. Thank you, guys. You guys are educating me a lot. Real. Is that how you say the currency? Real, or is it real? Anyway, thank you, Saw. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the super chat and your kind words. Hey, if you guys missed the son of Hamas, we can always do another video on him. We can always do another video on him. No, I just wanted to, the reason why I wanted to go over this thing with Brianna, which is pathetic that she did a poll. Who's better, me or Brianna Joy Gray? Like, how sad is that? Is because I just want you guys to, you know, be reminded, because I know a lot of you already know, the anatomy of a hack, the anatomy of a grifter. Because she starts out 2 years ago saying that Palestine was taken from the Israelis, and now she's full on excusing murder of children, denying the genocide in Gaza, and rewriting history about the Nakba and the history of Palestine. Like, full ass, like, all the way to the other side of the pendulum. All the way to the other side of the pendulum for a paycheck. Let's not get that twisted, okay? Let's not get that twisted. She is getting paid by the Zionists. And I know that because I saw her speaking at the ADL. She wasn't doing that shit for free. The ADL is a garbage organization. Garbage. Would you get Greg Stoker on the show? I don't know who that is, but I would. I'm very open to having people and yeah, Amor, they 100% are. And going on anybody's show if they invite me. Usually anyone who invites me on their show, I'll go on, even if I don't like them, because I do not mind arguing with people. The only thing I don't like is when people speak over people. They try to use that as a not cute debate tactic, just yelling over people, because then you can't hear anybody. And that's always what the Zionists do. I think she's doing it because it pays better. Being a progressive, as I've said, doesn't really pay. She's probably making nothing at Rebellion PAC. Like, she's not going to get paid a lot of money. And there is no, like, dark money Palestinian. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing we get, like, people on the left who are, like, pro-Palestinian is the kind donations of, like, people like Saw, who just gave me a super chat, or people who join our Patreons or Ko-Fi. Like, those are the only things we get from, like, regular people. There's no, like, dark money billionaire that's, like, pro-Palestinian. Like, it's not a thing on the left. It's just not a thing. All the money is always on the right and always with the Zionists, because they have their values align as far as capital accumulation and corporatism, which is something that the left doesn't align with. And that's the reason why leftists don't make money. I wonder if nobody calls son of Hamas. Yeah, right, Mohammed, for real though. Oh, TK. So TK just wrote, you and Rathbone should talk together. Let me tell you something really quick about Rathbone, okay? He blocked me. I would talk to Rathbone. I would, because I used to watch his content. Like, I liked his content. And but he did not like me calling him out one time. Okay? So yeah, he didn't like that. I called him out. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a call out. I would call it a call in, okay? I called him in because he went out of his way. I'm telling you guys. So basically, there was this whole kerfuffle on TikTok because one of the Palestinian creators named Salma had called him out for going to Qatar and doing all of this like stuff. And it wasn't even calling just him out. She was calling out the whole project of being like, why aren't you inviting pro-Palestinians to speak on this? Like, that was her point. It was kind of what we were talking about earlier. No, Cello, I did not block him. I never blocked him. He blocked me. So basically she was just calling out like the whole project. Like, why didn't you guys invite Palestinians to talk about it? And it was kind of like the same thing I was saying earlier to you guys. Like, everybody speaks for Palestinians or is always trying to say what Palestinians should do about their land and about their autonomy instead of asking Palestinians, hey, what do you think about this conflict? What do you think should happen in Gaza? Like, ask Palestinians. So she had called him out and then he made a video like attacking her. I mean, maybe attacking is too strong of a word, but he made a response video like calling her out back and giving her shit for saying that. And so he got backlash. He got backlash for basically being an asshole, for like calling her out when she is Palestinian. So no, bro, like, you're not going to step on the voice of a Palestinian woman for calling this out. Like, that's just embarrassing. Okay. So when Palestinians are talking, we should be listening. So this isn't hard. Okay. So then a little bit later, like that kind of blew over, right? And then a little bit later, there were Palestinians asking him in his lives and other people that were working on these movements, people that were creating and working on the movement for the Operation Watermelon to try to gain attention to the people that were trying to evacuate from Gaza, asked him to speak on it. And he got all kind of tood, like unnecessary tood. He was like, he was acting all popular. It was like embarrassing. He was like, I don't know why you think I owe you anything or why I have to speak out. I don't exactly remember exactly what he said, but it was very pompous and very like, he was acting like he was famous. Like he was like some like famous actor. He was like, I don't owe you anything on my platform and I don't have to talk about anything with you losers, liberals. Like literally calling like pro-Palestinian people who were trying to advocate for Palestine. And I guess made the mistake of thinking he would be an ally in that, of asking him to speak out on it. And his response was to mock the people trying to push this initiative and call them liberals. That's fucked up. That's not cute. That's not cute. You're not an actor, bro. You're not Jeff or Sekanophilus or whatever the fuck that actor's name is. I don't even know his name, but you're not him, okay? And be okay with some constructive criticism. So I made a video about that because it was so pompous and it was so rude to the people that were trying to get him to speak out about Palestine, right? And so I made a video on that, trying to do it like a call-in, right? Like that's how I was trying to make it. I was saying like, I even like preface it with like, I really like Rathbone's content and I think he does good educational content, but for you to get on this platform and constantly ask people to join your Patreon, which he did in every single one of his videos, which I understand. Like, I wasn't even hating on that. I get that, like, if you're on the left like he is, you're not getting paid any big money. So you need to rely on small dollar donors. But what bothered me about him doing that is that when he was asked by fellow comrades who were pro-Palestinian to speak out about Operation Watermelon or some of the initiatives that pro-Palestinian people were doing, he got all popular and was like, fuck off. Like that was like his whole attitude. So yeah, I didn't think that was cute. I don't think it's very comrade-like, especially if a lot of your content is about Gaza and a lot of his content at this time was about Gaza. And he blocked me. Like I made it, I tagged him in it so that he would see the video and see the call-in, and he blocked me. So that's the story with Rathbone. That's what happens. People don't like to be called in. Like I would even get it if I had been like a total bitch to him or something, you know? Like if I had been like, fuck you, you should be canceled. But like, I wasn't. I, like I said, made the mistake of thinking that like he actually cared about any kind of community building on the left or like, you know, trying to help each other out with these initiatives. And that was a mistake on my part. He clearly didn't. Thus why he never addressed it. He never apologized and he just blocked me. Yeah, Bison's account did get banned on TikTok, but thankfully they restored it within a day. It got like a ton of backlash. Yeah, you're right, Silver. There aren't that many. Yeah, I try to follow as many Palestinians accounts as I can as well. Yeah, you're right, O'Day. I should ask Salma to come on. Salma's great. Salma is one of the people that I started following shortly after October 7th to learn about Palestine, to learn about Gaza. Because I was like so uneducated and didn't really know what was going on. So I followed a bunch of Palestinian creators and just started listening to what they were saying. Oh, I would love to debate Brianna Wu. I would love to debate Brianna Wu. But guys, you would have to like, when it comes to people like Brianna Wu or something, you would have to like get them to agree to debate me because she has a bigger platform than me. Why? I don't know. What does she do besides show for Zionists? I don't know. But like, she actually has the bigger platform. So if I want to like talk to someone, it's likely they would have to agree to talk to me or agree to have me on because I'm the one with the smaller platform. So I have less leverage. But yes, I would definitely debate her. Oh, yeah, they're always cracking down on any of that stuff. Yeah, so in conclusion, she's just terrible. She's so terrible. Oh, that's what I wanted to read this last one before. Okay. She wrote, this was her original debris. I'm not rooting for deaths. I've called for a ceasefire repeatedly and support our president's efforts in a ceasefire. What efforts? I also strongly publicly stood against Rafah, but I'm smart enough to understand that just because something is bad doesn't mean it's a genocide. And then she also wrote, because Bree wrote, a lying Zionist, who would have thought? And she wrote, just say Jew, Brianna. It would have been the first honest thing to come out of your mouth ever. Because again, the endless bad faith. They're always trying to conflate Zionism with being Jewish. It's not. They're always trying to conflate it. They try to conflate Zionism with Judaism, say that when you say you're anti-Zionist, that means you're anti-Jewish. They lie. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up now. I've been on for 2.5 hours. First, I want to say exactly, Abed, most Zionists are Christian. Fact. So when they say, when you say Zionists, you just mean Jew. No, actually, most Zionists are Christians. It's a fucking ideology. It's an ideology. I just want to see your reaction when you did say. Yes, I know, guys. That's why I want to go on Pierce but Hamas Morgan. Thank you, Hassan. Okay, so first, thank you, Cello, first time streamer with me. Yes, we were on for about 2.5 hours. I will say this. If you guys want to see me on a podcast with somebody else, the best thing to do would be to ask their chat or to ask them on Twitter, because it's likely they have a bigger platform than me, so they'd be the ones to have to agree. I'm open to talking to anybody. And the other thing is to say thank you for joining me on this live. I had a great time with you guys. I always do. You always make me laugh. And good night, Hassan. And of course, always thank you to everybody who gave me super chats. You guys are the reason why I can even do this. It's because of your support. So I appreciate so much anybody who donated and gave a super chat during this. And if you can, join my Ko-Fi. The link is in my YouTube, and become a member in my Ko-Fi, which is like Patreon. Thank you, Mouthy. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you guys. I feel grateful that you guys have my back, because I get attacked a lot. So knowing that you guys have my back, it's really nice. I appreciate all of you. I would go on door too. I would talk to George Galloway. Just, yeah, tell them to let me on. Let me in, coach. All right. So I'm going to get going, and I love you too, O'Day. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining the live, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Okay. I'm going to be going live on Thursday at 4 p.m. 4 on Thursday, guys. So, yeah, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Love you all. Free Palestine.